Ayin Zayin Amud Beis, the second line from the top. Continue on with the question about the precise spelling of certain words. Yiboilu oimemus oy oimemus. Is it with an aleph or with an ayin? The word that means oimemus, that coals that have been partially extinguished but not completely, so it's smoldering. The flame is flickering. So we can bring a rhyme from the pasuk that says, the cedar trees will not dim his glory in the garden of Hashem. So you're talking about dimming, and it's with an ayin. So the proper spelling is with an ayin. Another shayla, ma'amsin tanan, or ma'amsin. Is it ma'amsin with an aleph or with an ayin? It says, we'll learn in the Mishnah later, that it says that one should not close the eyes of someone who is nifter on Shabbos. So what's the proper spelling? It says in the pasuk that the person who closes his eyes, he doesn't look at ra, he doesn't look at something evil. So you see that the closing is with the eye, is referring to, it's with an ayin. Ton Rabbanon, we learned in Brisa, Hamoitzi Chala Shel Behema, if one takes out the milk of a behema, of an animal, what is the shear? The shear is Chai Froitzos, Kedei Gemia, enough to swallow. Chala Shel Isha, if it's the milk of an Isha, Loivin Shel Beya, or if it's the white of a raw egg, Kedei Litain, B'Meshiva Shel Killer. It's enough to mix in with an application of killer, with an ointment. The ointment was mixed in with liquids, and it was used either with liquids with milk or with water or with the white of a raw egg. It was mixed in with different liquids, so it's the amount that would be normally done to mix it in with this ointment, to mix it in with and have this ointment. So that is the shear. It's kedei litem l'shiva shel kilor, and kilor, how much of the kilor does he take out? Kedei lo shuv b'mayim. A normal amount that would be used to mix with water, and to mix it with water to have the end result, to have this ointment. Boy, Ravash Kedei Shifa, is it enough that so how much of the killer is the shear? Is it enough to Kedei Shifa, to apply to the eyes? It was an ointment that they used for someone had an ailment with his eye. Is it enough to apply to the eye? Or Kedei Achiza v'Shifa? Or is it even more than that, because one would put the ointment on their finger and then apply it to their eye? So inevitably there's going to be some of it that remains on his finger. Is the shear that would be enough, the amount that ends up being on the eye? Or does it have to be a little bit more than, if he's going to use his finger, that it would be the amount that would remain on his finger, and plus, of course, the amount that's on his eye? So does it have to be, as the shear, that a little bit more to include the amount that will remain on his finger? Or is it just the net amount that would be on his eye? The end result is the ointment on the eye. So that is what has chashivas. But perhaps, and even on a practical basis, if he's going to use his finger, it would have to include a little bit more of this ointment, because some is going to remain on his finger. Take him. Dvash kedei litena ka'ala kosis. Honey, it's the amount that he would put on a sore on the animal. Tana kedei liten al pi kosis. But it's only on the head of the sore. It's not the whole entire area of the sore. It's enough even to put on the head of the sore. That gives it a chashivas, and he's high for that amount. Boy, Ravashi al kosis apuma de kula kosis. It is on the mouth, the entire mouth of the sore. Is that what we mean? Or dilma amusha kama de kosis, or maybe only on the tip of the sore. La puke hudrona deloy, and that would exclude the areas around it, which you would not have to have that amount of the honey. So is it just the tip, the smaller amount, or the larger area of the head of the sore? Is it just a tip, rather the smaller amount, or the larger area of the head of the sore, which would be a larger amount? Take home. Whatever the Rebbeinu Shalom created in this world, nothing is for waste. There's a purpose for everything that the Rebbeinu Shalom created in the world. He created a slug, or some translation would be as a snail. He created that as a remedy for causes for the sore. Borazvuv letzira. He created a fly. It can be used as a refuah for etzira, for a hornet. The Yitu, she created either a mosquito or a gnat. It's a user refuah for a snake bite. Lenachash. V'nochash lechafovis. And snakes are used as a refuah for boils. Usmamis la'akrav. And a spider can be used as a refuah for a scorpion sting. So, going back to the snake, to the nachash, how does he make this refuah? How does he make this medicine? He takes a black snake and a white one, and he boils it together, and then with the liquid, he and he rubs it on the boil. Ton Rabbanon, Chamisha Amos Hain, Amos Cholash Al Gibor. There are 5 instances where there's creatures where the weak one, the small one, instills fear on the larger one. What are they? Amos Mavgia Lari, the fear of the Mavgia on the lion. The Mavgia is a smaller animal. Rashi says it has a loud cry, and others say that the Mavgia, the Ben Yehoyada says the Mavgia has sharp claws, but it's small. And it attacks the lion. And the big, brave lion is afraid of the Mavgia. The big elephant is afraid of the gnat, or the mosquito. The spider on the scorpion. The scorpion is afraid of the lowly spider. The swallow instills fear on the eagle, and Emas kilbis al. The fear of the kilbis on Leviosan. Leviosan is huge, and the kilbis is a small creature, and Rashi says that it attacks it by the ears, and it bores into its ears, and he attacks it. That's how he attacks it. So we have instances where the mighty is afraid of that which is small. Omer Yudah Marav Mikro Hamavlig Shoit Al Az. He causes the weak to. He enables the weak to be victorious over the strong, over the powerful. Rabbi Zera encountered Rabbi Yehuda. He was standing by the door of his father-in-law. And he saw that he was in a very good mood. He was very happy. And if he asked him anything in the world, he would tell him. So therefore he seized upon the opportunity to ask him all of these questions. He says when the flock is walking, the goats travel, they walk first, and the sheep walk in back of the goats. Why is that? He said, just like the creation of the world. It was first dark and then light. So the goats, which are darker in appearance, they go first, and following behind are the sheep, which have a brighter wool and whiter, and the bright ones go afterwards. The next question he asks him, he says, why is it that the sheep, their tails cover them, they're not exposed, and the goats, the tails do not cover them? So he says, the sheep which give us covering, from the wool of the sheep, we cover also, we make clothing, we make garments that covers ourselves, so our erva is covered by them. Therefore, Rabbeinu Shalom rewarded them that they have tails which cover their erva. But the goats which don't provide us with clothing, we don't get any covering from them, they are not provided with the tail that covers them. He asked another question, what's the reason that camels have a small tail? He answered, Mishum, the Achal, because they eat thorns, and if they have a long tail, it would get tangled in the thorns. He asked him then, why does the ox have a long tail? He says, Mishum the Dair Ba'agman, because they frequent the swamps. That's where they live. Boy, lekarkushe bakin. They have to, with their tails, they chase away the mosquitoes, the gnats, and therefore, if they would have long tails, they would get tangled up in the thorns. My timer kana de kamsa rechicha. Why is the antenna of a locust, why is the antenna soft? Why isn't it hard? He says, Mishum dedar bechilfi, because they live in the willows. Vikasha, if it was hard, nadya misavra, it would get broken or dislodged, and they would become blind. Because we know, Domer Shmuel, Haiman the boilis melikamsa, if you want to blind the locust, the shalfino lekarne, remove its antenna. So therefore, it had to be soft, so it wouldn't break. He asked him another question, my time ahai timid tanagola midleleil. And why is it the unusual eyelids of the rooster that it goes from bottom up? Normally eyelids are from the top down, and theirs it goes from the bottom up. He answered me, because the daire adapi, because they live on the beams, on the high beams and boards, and the ayala kutra, and sometimes there's smoke that comes up, that arises, and if the smoke would come up, it would come into their eyes, and misavra, they would blind them. So they don't have the opening from the bottom of their eyes covered with the bottom of the eyelid, so it's not exposed, and that it provides that covering for the smoke that rises up and would affect their eyes. He asks them the etymology of certain words, and what is the meaning of the word, and are they a contraction of. Some words are really made up of a contraction of two other words or several other words. So he asks them, what is the meaning of these words? Dosha, a door. Why is a door called dosha? Because derech sham, because that's the way you go through, derech sham. Darga, why is a ladder called a darga? Because derech gag, because the ladder, you climb the ladder to get to the roof. Maskolisa, why is this dip? Why is it called maskalisa? Because it's made up of the words Mosai tichluto. When is this going to be finished? It's a dip which you eat. It takes a long time to finish it because you only eat it little bits at a time. So they say, like, when is this going to be finished? Besa. Why is the house called a besa? Because it's made up of the words Boy ve'esipo. Come, let's live here. Let's sit here. Biksa. Why is a cramped house called a biksa? Be'aksa. It's a narrow, small place. Kufta, a mortar. The mortar grind the spices in a vessel with a pestle into the mortar. So why is it called a mortar? Why is it called kufsa? Kuf is turn it over and then you can sit on it. You turn it over and then you can sit on the base of it. Livni, why are bricks called livni? Livnei bani, because you build houses with it, and houses endure, they last for generations, so it's livnei bani. It's passed over to grandchildren. Hutza, why is a fence that's made out of branches? It's made out of branches as opposed to stones or brick. Why is it called a hutza? Because it's a chatzitza. It's only a chatzitza. It's only a separation. It's not really a proper wall. It's just a chatzitza. Chatzva. Why is a barrel called a chatzva? Shechaytza mayim minahar. Because one draws water from the river. It's like mining the water. He draws it from the base. So that's why it's called a barrel. Kuza, why is a small container made out of cheres? Why is it called a kuza? Because it's small, so whatever is there is like this, a little bit. So it's a small container. Shutisa, why is a hadassim, a branch of hadassim, why is it called shutisa? Shtusa, because of a chasanas, they used to dance with the hadassim, and they look like shaitim, shtusisa, they look like fools. Meshichla, why is a washing trough called a meshich? Because mashikula, because it's many people who use it. They wash their feet with it. This washing basin, washing trough, and it's used by many. Meshich. So why is a meshich called a meshich? So a meshich is something which is more decorative. It's in a higher quality. Because over there it's mashik kalsa. It's not for general use, and it's not for the many. It's for a kala. It's for a special person. So it was used for washing for special people, special occasions. Asisa, a small mortar, as opposed to the previous when we were talking about a large one. This is a small mortar. Why is it called asisa? Because chaserte, it's missing. Rashi explained they used to take like a block of wood and hollow out the middle, and therefore had a receptacle. They could use it to crush the spices in it. So this block of wood was chaser, it was missing. It was missing something from inside. Buchna, why is the pestle that you use to crush the spices, the saman, why is it called a buchna? Because boy, if I cannot come and I'll hit it, I'll crush it, I'll grind it. Levusha, why is a levusha a cloak that they wore, an outer cloak? Why is it called a levusha? Because loibusha, because it would cover up the person's clothing. If his clothing he was wearing was torn or dirty, it wasn't high quality, it covers, so no busha. Galima, a galima is a type of a cape that doesn't have sleeves. It's just a cape that they wore over the other garments. Shanasa boy kigoylem. It's called a galima because the person is like a goylem without form. Since it's just a cape and it covers and it's not fitted and it doesn't have sleeves, so it's like a goylem without any shape, just a block. His features are covered. Gulsa, a high quality cape, is called a gulsa gole ve'esid because it was made out of fine material and it could be worn out very easily, rubbed out. So before he would sit down, the person would lift it up and sit as not to rub against this cape. Puria, why is a bed called a puria? Shaparim v'rav malal, because it's a bed that they kayim purvu on the bed. That's called a puria. Bor zinka, why a pit that's dried out. Why is it called bor zinka? Bor zenoki, it's clean, it's dried out. Sudra, the turban, why is it called a sudra? Soid Hashem le'yireyav, because the Talmid Chacham were a sudra, so the Soid Hashem, the secrets of Hashem are for those who fear. It's called a sudra. Apadna, why is a palace called Apadna? Because of Pischadim, because everybody comes through this door. Everybody had to come one time or other, either to give cover to the ruler, for a court case, etc. At some point, everybody has to pass through these doors. Ton Rabban Shloisha, there are three. Calls man shemaskina. The older they get, the stronger they get. Ve'elohein dag ve'nachash ve'chazir. These three, the fish, the snake, and the chazir, the older they get, the stronger they get. So this Mishnah continues, it said, Shemen kedei lasoch ever katan. The amount of oil is to anoint, to rub on a small limb. Amri the Rabbi Yanai, Shemen kedei lasoch ever katan shel katan ben yomi. He said it's a small limb of a newborn baby, the little finger of a newborn baby. Meisal ask you a kasha, Shemen kedei lasoch ever katan v'katan ben yomi. So it seems to be two separate things. It's either a lasoch ever katan, meaning of a gadol, and a katan ben yomi, not one and the same. My love, aver katan the gadol, does not mean a small limb of an adult, or aver gadol shel katan ben yomi, and not a small limb of a newborn, but a large limb of a newborn. Now you're saying, Rav Yana is saying that it's a small limb of a newborn, but they seem to be two different things there. Loss of aver katan, which would imply an aver katan, a small limb of a gadol, and an aver of a katan ben yomi, a large limb of a katan ben yomi, not a small limb. The more answers no. Amalach the Rav Yana like hachikama shemen kedei loss of aver katan shel katan ben yomi. It's not two separate things. It means to be one and the same, to clarify that it's a small limb, it's a small finger of a newborn baby, that tiny amount of oil. So that would be chashuv, because for a newborn, they would rub the skin with the oil, and therefore even that minimum amount has chashivas, so one would be chai for that.